Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the ultimate Giga Slamma Jamma build right here, ladies and gentlemen. But before I explain the build, let me just simply show you that the proof is in the pudding.
Why is your character named Giga Slammer Jammer? Your build has nothing to do with slams. This is false advertising, Woolie. You can't just call yourself Slamma Jamma and have no slam. What are you doing? No, I'm not logging in. What's going on here, Woolie? Don't get scared. I'm not scared of you, Woolie. I'm not scared. Wait, he's doing damage? He's actually doing what the hell? I'm not afraid of you, Woolie. You better build. Better build. What do you mean better build? You can't kill me. Okay, well maybe you can't kill me. I don't know. You might be able to kill me, but you're not going to kill me. Duh. Oh. What kind of witchcraft is this? How are you stunning my player right now? I have stun avoid. What is going on? I think I'm afraid of Woolie. I'm not. Okay, I'm not. He killed me when my belt was bugged. That's pretty neat though. That is. You are slamma jamming.
What you just saw there was Captain Lance 9's immortal trickster. He can farm every void map, every modifier, doesn't care about any of the monsters. He gets pooping out mage bloods left and right. He's getting one passive voices like they're candy. Captain Lance 9 immortal trickster, 10 mirror build versus 100 divine slammer jammer build. Which one, do you want me to rewind the footage? Which one was the victor in that? The 100 divine slammer jammer, of course. 10 mirrors, 100 divines, blows through it. All right, enough messing around. He wasn't actually, his mage blood was bugged. For some reason, mage blood is bugged in PvP, so he didn't have his belt on. He lost a lot of stuff. Anyway, now to actually explain how this build works as concisely as I can. We'll get to the nitty gritty details here in a second. There's just an overview for you guys. I'm level 87 right now. What we're doing is we're using Marohi Urki, very slow attack speed, very high damage. We don't care about the attack speed because we're using General's Cry. The guys that we spawn from this, we're using Cyclone to spawn a bunch of corpses because that's how General's Cry works. You spawn dudes from corpses, and then these guys attack for you. These guys don't care about your attack speed. They always attack one attack per second, then they disappear. So we're hitting very hard with Consecrated Path of Endurance, which has 10% more damage per endurance charge. And you guessed it, we're stacking endurance charges. +1 implicit on the ring, +1 on the belt, +1 implicit on the boots. We have +1 from the tree, +2, +3 from the tree. We're using Marauder, so we have, or Juggernaut, sorry, +1 from Juggernaut. I'm using Sublime Vision, why not splurge a little bit, +1 from there. We have 11 endurance charges total, which obviously gives us a lot of damage. We are then converting fully into fire damage with the passive tree here, so 40% there, 10% on the gloves, that's and then 50% on the gem itself. So we get, generic elemental damage scaling there. We grab Elemental Overload because we're using Ralakesh's Impatience, which gives us maximum power charges. Yo, 12 C-Seg, what the heck, dude? We have maximum power charges all the time, so we are critting way more than once every 8 seconds. We're good to go. This is always up, 40% more damage. We're also using the Fulgurite Tincture. We're not using the Primalist. I know this is a rare non-Primalist new build here with the League. We're using the Shock Tincture because we're hitting so ridiculously hard. The harder you hit, the higher the shock value. Shock just increases all damage that an enemy takes. So we're shocking them for a big amount. And it's that simple. That is the offensive side of this build. Let me get my 12C real quick, guys. Let me go ahead and get my 12 cash ore. So offensively, we have big slam, very slow. We don't care about the slow because these guys do it for us. We're stacking endurance charges to deal giga damage with that. We're grabbing a bunch of, generic elemental stuff just to scale that even further. And defensively, for this build, we are running 4th Val, which has armor applies to chaos damage taken from hits. Of course, we're running Marauder. So we have armor equipped from body armor is doubled, and armor applies to elemental damage on top of that. So we have double value from that. We're also running Divine Flesh right here from the Glorious Vanity, Zabakwa, if you get that general right there. So if you did not know about these jewels, the number and then the name at the end, those are the only two things that matter. Obviously, the base type of the jewel too, duh. So Divine Flesh simply says that half of the elemental damage that you take is taken as chaos damage instead, and then you get additional chaos res on top of that. So we're applying our armor to every single source of damage that we take. Armor already applies to physical damage. Now it applies to all of our chaos damage and then some of our elemental damage on top of that. It's incredibly powerful. That's basically the whole defensive side of this build. That's the quick and dirty synopsis of it. Petrified Blood, also I'm running this, which basically says that a big hit gets reduced by 40%, and then a portion of that, 75% of that 40% is then dealt to you over time. So it mitigates a big hit, makes it a lot smaller, but then deals some of that damage back to you over time. And then we have a lot of regen. I think POB says we are sitting at like 600 regen right now. Yeah, about 600 regen. We're also running Disciple of Katava, which says you gain 5% of your life and mana every second. I'm spawning way more corpses than Disciple of Katava could ever consume. So I'm getting 5% life and mana every single second on top of my regen, on top of mitigating a butt ton of damage. This build feels great. Long story short. So there you go. Look at the POB in the description. If you wanted to just check it out, plug it in. If you know what you're doing, just look at it. Boom. There you go. You're off to the races. Let's get into the details. So the first thing, and I know some of you might be typing already, Woolie, you're using Consecrated Path. You should be using Tectonic Slam. Tectonic Slam gets 20% more damage. Yeah, I know. The Tectonic Slam of Cataclysm does give 20% more damage per endurance charge removed. We're not removing charges anymore because I'm using Ralakesh's and Patience. I was not using these boots. I was using Death's Door, which simply give +1 endurance on the boots themselves, and then I got a corrupted version for additional +1. I was using these boots, but because we are using the Arn's Anguish belt, which I definitely think is worth it because this gives you 33% chance to deal triple damage, which is absolutely insane, which I should have clarified this. The freaking POB warriors are going to be like, oh, look at this config. He's cheating, bro. No, I'm not. Your hits can't be evaded. It's right here on the flask. It doesn't work in POB right now, so I put it there. And then the life and the triple damage is because I'm not actually wearing the freaking belt, guys, because it's also bugged with Ralakesh and Patience. By the way, if you're not using Ralakesh's and Patience, these boots right here, if you're not running these boots in one of your builds this league, you're absolutely trolling. Like, the amount of value these boots give you is insane for their price. They're like 40C for a decent roll. These boots are absolutely crazy. So the way that this works and why I can't use Tectonic Slam is because it says per endurance charge removed. We're not removing anything. We're at maximum, right? We're already there. We have it, period. We're not gaining. We're not losing. We have maximum, period. Therefore, we cannot remove for Tectonic Slam. But this also is a blessing in disguise because I can run Arn's Anguish, which simply says you gain brutal charges instead of endurance charges. You still have your endurance charges because I'm always at maximum. It's just now instead of gaining endurance, you gain brutal, which gives you, again, 3% chance to deal triple damage per charge, which is just absolutely crazy. And the way we're generating them, obviously, is we're playing Marauder, which gives you, every time you get hit, you get 30% chance to gain endurance charge. And then while you get a 30% chance, you get a 25% chance to then gain all of your charges just right away. So it's mega generation. And on top of that, if you get hit, you just straight up get one charge every second. And then that every second tick also factors in the 25% chance to just get maximum. So long story short, as soon as you get hit, you're just going to get all your endurance charges within like 3 seconds. Like basically, the bunch of words on this, +1 endurance charge. When you get hit, you get maximum endurance charges within like 3 seconds. That's what this node should say, essentially. Incredibly powerful, both offensively and defensively, obviously. So I'm leveraging offensively through the belt here and defensively because they're just endurance charges. They're really good. 3% additional physical damage reduction and 4% all elemental resistances per endurance charge. We have 11 charges. That's really freaking powerful. On top of that, the other main defensive layer is Divine Flesh, which says half of your elemental damage is taken as chaos damage. You get additional chaos resistance on top of that, which is very powerful in and of itself. Then I'm running Fourth Vow on top of that, which simply says armor is also applied to chaos damage taken from hits. Armor already applies to physical damage. Now armor applies to all of my chaos damage, which in turn applies to half of my elemental damage, but oh, wait, it also applies to an additional 8% of all of my elemental damage because of this node, and I get more armor from my body piece on top of that. So in Hideout, we are currently sitting at 55.8k armor, unbuffed. I'm just sitting here with 55.8k armor. It's just insanely powerful. Again, factoring in Petrified Blood. Have I explained this? I've done this video like 3 times now. I'm sorry, I'm kind of losing my mind right now. So you take a big hit, Petrified Blood reduces it by 40%. Then your normal resistances are going to reduce it even further. Then, because we're using Fourth Vow, my armor is going to reduce it even further because my armor applies to all damage because I'm using Divine Flesh as well. This combo right here, just like Ralakesh's, I mean, a lot of people know about Fourth Vow and Divine Flesh, and also a lot of people know about Ralakesh's and Patience, but this combo is so freaking powerful. Fourth Vow, Divine Flesh is like probably the single most powerful combo in the game because the investment required is so low. You just need to cap your Chaos Res and then essentially just have some armor, you know? Cap your Chaos Res, run this Jewel with this body piece and have some armor on top of that. Like, it's crazy powerful. So we're incredibly tanky. We're dealing a butt ton of damage because, again, we're running Consecrated Path of Endurance. We're stacking a bunch of endurance charges. We have a large single hits, and we're hitting frequently enough. So I'm getting into the details now. So the only thing about General's Cry is that you have to play around the cooldown time. He says cooldown, the base cooldown is 4 seconds. You see it right there? I have it at right now 2.5 seconds, 2.55 seconds. I know this looks really weird right here, but this is actually the most efficient way that I figured out how to do the cooldown. I don't need this extra node here. I feel like this is good enough. I might grab that as well. And then I might as well drop that too, and I'll anoint something else. Also, this is, holy crap, this is the cringiest part of the build, bro. Replica Dragon Fang's Flight is so inefficient, except it totally enables my Petrified Blood. Without this 10% increased reservation efficiency, that's the key word, reservation efficiency, not mana reservation efficiency, reservation efficiency. I'm running this amulet and the mastery here where it says 20% increased life reservation, so I can always be at slightly above 50% health because that's very important. Normally, Petrified Blood says you cannot recover past 50% unless you use a life flask, and then as soon as you take damage, you'll be right back down to 50%. That is your new maximum health, except I want adrenaline all the time. Sorry, it's the wrong jewel. That's also the wrong jewel. Where the heck's my that which was taken? I lost a jewel. I lost my jewel, boys. Where's my jewel? Help. It's down here. It's definitely down here. There we go. So this thing right here, that which was taken, gives me some area of effect, some life regen rate, a little bit of strength, which is, a little more life, not a big deal. But gain adrenaline when you reach low life is incredibly powerful because when I pop my life flask, you'll see my life will go up. This is now past the 50% mark because Petrified Blood lets you do that. As soon as I take damage, I'm going to be lowered to low life, which is 50%. I will get adrenaline. All I have to do for this is pop my life flask once. So I'm running the Pantheon here, which says life flask getting charged. 3 charges every 3 seconds. If you have not used it, essentially, I always have adrenaline. This build has permanent adrenaline on top of all the other crap that's going on here. It just gives insane amount of damage, insane amount of survivability. I highly recommend that you try out this build. The playstyle can be a bit wonky at first. Also, I'm also 100% ailment immune here, thanks to Storm Shroud. My good friend Storm Shroud here. I have 100% ailment immunity here. I have reduced curse effectiveness. I have reduced crit effectiveness because I'm running Sublight Vision. Or sorry, because I'm running Watcher's Eye. That's where my Watcher's Eye is. So I have 56% crit reduction. I'm going to level up a few more times. I'm going to get an additional 30% crit reduction here. I'm also going to take this Mastery, which gives me 10% of physical damage taken as... 10% of physical damage taken as chaos. Like, this build is just insanely tanky. Obviously, you're going to need some money here. But let's be real, like 100 divines this league is like 5 divines last league or something, like 1 divine last league. Divines are super inflated this league. So for the investment, this is one of my favorite builds that I've played. There's obviously some min-maxing to be done here. I haven't explained absolutely everything in this build. Again, the PoE is in the description below if you want to check it out. But I think for the most part, I'm doing okay. I'll figure out the nitty-gritty of everything else, the fine details, the intricacies of what make this build actually work. And I'll report back to you with an in-game explanation of this build. I hope you guys enjoyed. Be on the lookout for a beginner build guide, which should be dropping very soon from yours truly. And other than that, thank you for watching, and peace out. Also, I kind of forgot to include some gameplay footage for you guys real quick, so I'm just going to put in an unID Hydra. That's how we ball around here. We go unID'd. Just so you can see the general gameplay. I'm not going to juice up this map, but this build can absolutely run a juiced map, no problem. So you basically just Cyclone, and then everything just kind of blows up. Cyclone to spawn the corpses with Desecrate, and then the Slammers come in, and they do their thing. That's pretty much the entire build. I'll probably cut ahead here after you can get a general feel for how the build... It's actually not... I'm not intending this build to be like a map clearer. So you can definitely play a way better build if you just want to clear maps. Omegalol. But for bossing, this should be very strong. So I'll just cut to the Hydra here. All right, so here comes Mr. Hydra. About to rip him a new one, bro. Here we go. Got our thingy-mabobbers. I don't even know what this map has on. I don't know if he has double damage or something. I don't know if he has extra damage, attack speed. No idea. I'm just going to spin around in circles and have my screen blow up with stuff on it. Kind of what I'm here for. I'm just going to sit the balls too, because why not? All right, can we hit harder here? Like, I don't know. Does this guy have elemental res? I don't know. Does he have extra life? I don't know. So is this good damage? You tell me. For you to decide. Oh, our health went kind of low there. All right, there you go. There's the build.